Hello there. I'm excited to be joining you to talk about kindness. I'm Dr. Catherine Crock, Chair of the Hush Foundation and the Gathering of Kindness. I'm a doctor at the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne, Australia, and I'd like to talk to you about my journey over the last 25 years. I started work with children with cancer at the Children's Hospital. And I very quickly came to realise I needed to learn from the patients and families about what are some of the things that really matter to them when they're having a difficult healthcare journey. I talked to families about what the environment is like in a hospital or a healthcare setting when you have a sick child. The families talked about the challenges. They said there are times when the system doesn't feel particularly kind to them. And there are aspects of that environment that seem to raise their anxiety and make it more difficult for them. They talk to me about bringing the arts, music, and some culture into a healthcare setting to try and reduce people's anxiety and stress while they're going through difficult situations. So the Hush Foundation started by bringing composers and musicians and other creative people into hospital spaces. They would stand in the corner of a waiting room or an operating theatre and listen to the sounds, have a look at the sights in that environment. And often they would say to us, this is really challenging. There's a cacophony of noises that really raise people's anxiety levels. And we need to think carefully about what sort of music could sit in that environment and actually improve people's emotional state rather than making them more anxious. Over the past 20 years, the Hush Foundation has produced 18 albums of extraordinary Australian music by some of our most famous musicians and composers. And this music is used in hospital waiting rooms, in treatment rooms, operating theatres, in general areas, and for the public. And we know it makes a difference. The idea being, this beautiful music can help to relax and calm you no matter what sort of stressful environment you might be going through. And at first, I thought the music was for the patients and the families. What I've come to realise is it's also so important for the people doing the hard work in healthcare, for us health professionals, to help improve the environment where we're working and to bring joy and relaxation into those spaces. Over the years, we've also worked with actors and playwrights. We've taken true stories about what goes on behind the scenes in healthcare for the patients and the families who might have a difficult story to tell, but also for staff who at times are coping with bullying and harassment, a competitive high-pressure environment where the stakes are really high and people may not always behave with kindness and respect towards each other in the workplace. We've written 3 plays now that highlight some of these aspects of the culture and behaviour in healthcare. And we put the plays on to hospital audiences over 200 times in Australia at conferences and internationally. The feedback we've had from audiences of around 15,000 people were frankly at times pretty disturbing, that basically in every healthcare organisation around the world, there's behaviour going on behind the scenes between staff that are not the best for those staff in their work environment, and they lead to things going wrong for patients and families, but also for those staff. We find we're losing good people from the system because the system is not treating them with kindness and respect. And we realised that people then can feel cheesed off with the system and in fact then find they're treating their colleagues with less kindness and respect than would be ideal. Out of this feedback came the start of the Gathering of Kindness. The concept that instead of focusing on the bad behaviour and things going wrong, we aspire towards a kind health system, one that's kind to the people working in it, where organisations treat the health professionals with kindness and respect, trust those health professionals, and help them to do their best work. And this health system would also be kind to the people receiving care. We're basically all in this together. And if we can treat each other with the kindness that we need, the system is going to function so much better. I'd like to talk to you about my own team at the Royal Children's Hospital as an example of what can be done. Going back maybe 10 or 15 years, we were not the ideal team. We had maybe 7 departments all thrown together to work in an operating theatre. There was sometimes some gossip amongst people, talking behind people's backs, complaining about each other, basically not treating each other with respect. We've brought about an extraordinary change over several years by thinking about how we're treating each other, by connecting human to human and to sharing some of our vulnerabilities. In the morning when we start our work, we huddle together and we check in with each other. This is such an important beginning to the day. And there'll be times when someone in the team might not be at their best. For them to share that with the rest of the team is actually really protective, not only for them, but for the whole team and for the safety of the work that we're doing. And now we actually are happy to show up, explain how we're feeling, ask for some support, and we know the team will have our back. And that's the way we've been able to build an absolutely joyful team where people love coming to work together. They feel safe, they feel trusted by their team, and they feel they can trust their team members to look after them and to treat them with kindness and respect. Really, for me, one of the best parts of this is the patients and families can absolutely feel it. And the families will say, we feel safe and secure when we're being looked after by your team. It's really about an awareness, I guess, an awareness of how other people are feeling, checking in with the other people, and then wrapping some care around your team and looking after each other. We might not get it right all the time, and we'll admit that we don't get it right. But I think the first step is to be aware and to be thinking about how is that other person that I'm interacting with. Maybe they're hungry, angry, late, tired, or scared. And in healthcare, I think often we are scared. We've got a lot on our plate, and a lot is riding on the work that we do. But if you're aware of how the other person is feeling, you can then, human to human, form a really special bond and work together in the most joyful way. So I would be delighted if people would like to join our gathering of kindness. This year in November, from the 9th to the 13th, we'll have a series of amazing speakers and activities, musical events and dance and other interactive things that people can look at on our Gathering of Kindness website. We've got some amazing speakers who'll be talking to you about what we've learned on our Gathering of Kindness journey, about how to build robust teams, how to develop kind leadership, and the wisdom that can be developed as you go through your career. The work that we're doing is not only applicable in healthcare, it's actually applicable in the whole of society. Imagine, instead of focusing on stamping out bullying in schools, we work towards a kind school system. What are the building blocks of a kind school? The domestic violence conversation could be a conversation about kind families and how we help families with the tools that can help to lead them towards a kind family. So let's get together around the world and think about this concept of kindness, checking in with each other, looking after each other, and building a kind society. Thank you very much.